A Correspondent Candid with Anderson Cooper.
To thank you for electing me as your next congresswoman.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has already made history. I mean, she's the youngest woman ever elected to Congress.
We have made history tonight.
And she's probably one of the most controversial already. You know, a lot of members of Congress, when they first get there, you know, they take some time, sort of get the lay of the land. One of the first things you did was you took part in a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office.
What we are showing, and what this is a celebration of our goals.
Are you concerned about making enemies in Congress, stepping on toes in Congress so early on?
I genuinely do not think of politics in the world in terms of enemies or allies, or like permanent enemies or permanent allies. I always think of things in terms of issues, and I always think of things in okay, what is our goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And who has aligned interests in getting that one thing done?
She very much wants to look at the Democratic Party and clearly wants to move the Democratic Party much farther to the left than where it currently is. Now that the new Congress has been sworn in, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the Democratic Party itself. I think there's at least 6 Democrats in the House right now, and you supported their opponents in last year's primary election. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're going to hold a grudge?
Well, I would hope not, because I don't hold a grudge against the majority of Democrats who endorsed against me in my primary election. I don't mind that almost every Democrat supported my primary challenger over me. I've moved on because I think one of the biggest problems we have in DC is that everyone's egos are too big.
When you actually get to Congress, there are concessions you have to make in order to get things done. And, you know, what power plays is she involved with? What concessions does she make on one thing in order to try to get, movement on another issue that's important to her? You're willing to compromise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just about what we choose to compromise. My personal opinion, and I know that my district and my community feels this way as well, is that we as a party have compromised too much, and we've lost too much of who we're supposed to be and who we are. And
the Democratic Party has lost too much.
I think so. I think we've compromised things that we shouldn't have compromised, whether it's judgeships with Mitch McConnell, whether it's compromising on climate change. I think there are some things that we've compromised a little bit too much on, but am I open to compromise on certain ways to get things done? Absolutely, absolutely.
One of the things that she believes got her elected is not taking corporate campaign contributions. She feels that among her constituents, that was an incredibly important thing, and it's something that she believes in and her supporters believe in. Do you worry Washington's going to change you?
I'm definitely concerned about that in terms of that culture, for sure.
Do you imagine yourself, like, 6 years from now in a back room at a steak restaurant smoking a cigar with lobbyists all around?
No, I'll leave before I do that. I would rather lose on my values than win on compromising who I am.
How much, Washington changes somebody is impossible to guess. I mean, it's one thing as a Democrat to be battling against Republicans, to be battling and not have people on your side within your own party. That's a whole other issue that she's going to have to deal with.
What is the worst possible situation that could ever possibly happen? And let's say I'm only in Congress for 2 years. If we can radically change the conversation, then we can potentially accomplish more in 2 years than many people are able to shape the conversation in 10.